The Galactic Council's dilemma. The Galactic Council chamber was a grand sight, a circular hall with representatives from every corner of the galaxy. Luminescent walls display holograms of star maps, glowing softly as each member discussed matters of interstellar peace. For centuries, the Council had maintained order among the galaxy's species, ensuring balance through treaties, trade, and, when necessary, force. But today there was unease in the chamber. A new subject was on the agenda, one that sent ripples of uncertainty through even the most confident delegates. Earth. For years, Earth had been ignored by the galaxy's more advanced civilizations. It was considered an insignificant, primitive world, a blue dot orbiting an average star. Its people, while clever and resourceful, lacked the technological power or influence to pose a real threat, or so they thought. The meeting began with the Andari ambassador, a tall, silver-skinned being with piercing amber eyes, stepping forward. His voice, calm but laced with tension, echoed through the chamber. "My esteemed colleagues, I bring troubling news. Humanity is not as harmless as we once believed." A murmur spread among the delegates. The Andari were known for their intelligence networks, often uncovering secrets long before others. If they were concerned, it meant something serious was unfolding. The Sorban delegate, a reptilian creature with scales that shimmered under the chamber's lights, hissed dismissively. "Humans? They're barely out of their cradle. What could they possibly do?" The Andari ambassador raised a hand to silence the room. "Let me explain. Our spies have uncovered evidence that Earth has been rapidly advancing its technology. In just a few decades, they have developed systems that rival our own. They have achieved interstellar travel and, more importantly, they are building weapons, powerful weapons." The holographic display shifted, showing images of Earth's fleet. Though still small compared to the armadas of the Council's members, the ships displayed a sleek, efficient design. A diagram highlighted their weapon systems, railguns, energy shields, and missile technology that appeared unusually sophisticated for a species so young. The delegates leaned forward, their expressions a mix of disbelief and concern. "How could this happen without us noticing?" asked the delegate from the Trivaldi, a species known for their technological superiority. "The humans have been careful," the Andari replied. "They have hidden their progress from the galaxy. While we were busy with our own wars and politics, they focused on growth, innovation, and unity. And now they are ready." A pause hung in the air. The silence was broken by the Valan representative, a hulking creature with 4 arms and a voice like grinding stone. "If they pose a threat, we should act now. Crush them before they grow any stronger." This suggestion sparked heated debate. Some agreed, arguing that humanity's rise was dangerous and needed to be stopped. Others, like the ambassador from the peaceful Lyrian species, urged caution. Destroying Earth would set a dangerous precedent, the Lyrian ambassador said, her soft voice cutting through the noise. "Do we destroy every species that grows too powerful? Where does it end? We cannot claim to be protectors of peace if we act as tyrants." The Andari ambassador let the debate continue for a few moments before speaking again. "This is not just about their weapons. Humanity is different. They are adaptable, resilient, and unpredictable. I have read their histories, studied their wars. When cornered, they fight with a determination that defies logic. If we provoke them, we may awaken something far more dangerous than we can imagine." His words sent a chill through the room. The Council had faced many threats over the centuries: rebellions, rogue AI, even entire species that sought conquest. But the idea of a species fighting beyond its limits, fueled by sheer willpower, was unsettling. "What do you propose, Ambassador?" asked the Sorgan delegate, narrowing his reptilian eyes. "We must approach this carefully," the Andari replied. "Send an envoy to Earth, under the pretense of peace. Learn more about their true capabilities. If they are open to diplomacy, we can negotiate. But if they are as dangerous as I suspect, we must be prepared for a conflict unlike any we have faced before." The room fell silent. Each delegate considered the weight of the decision before them. Earth was no longer just another developing world. It was a potential rival, one that had grown strong in the shadows. Finally, the council leader, an elder being with shimmering, translucent skin, spoke. "Very well, we will send an envoy. But remember, if humanity is indeed a threat, we must act swiftly and decisively. The galaxy cannot afford to be caught off guard." As the meeting adjourned, the Andari ambassador lingered in the chamber, gazing at the hologram of Earth. He couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning. Humanity had risen faster than anyone expected, and if the Council underestimated them again, the consequences could be catastrophic. Far away, on the blue planet itself, humanity remained unaware of the debate raging in the stars. But one thing was certain: Earth was ready. Earth's unexpected visitor. The Galactic Council wasted no time. They selected one of their most cunning diplomats, Krell Therian, a member of the sly and secretive Zilaric species. Known for their ability to blend diplomacy with espionage, the Zirac were perfect for such delicate missions. Krell's task was simple: observe, gather intelligence, and assess Earth's true threat level. Officially, he would arrive as an envoy of peace. Unofficially, he would be a spy. As his sleek, black ship pierced through Earth's atmosphere, the world below came into view. Krell had seen countless planets in his lifetime, but Earth was strangely captivating. Vast oceans sparkled under a golden sun, sprawling green forests stretched for miles, and cities glimmered like constellations at night. But it wasn't the beauty of the planet that intrigued him, it was the humans. Krell landed his craft near Geneva, where Earth's leaders had arranged a formal welcome. The delegation of humans waiting for him was smaller than expected. No grand parades or overt displays of power, only a few officials standing near a modest spaceport. A man stepped forward to greet him, tall and composed, with piercing blue eyes and an air of quiet authority. "I'm Ambassador Carter," the man said, extending a hand. "Welcome to Earth." Krell hesitated. The Zirac considered physical contact primitive, but he remembered his training and grasped Carter's hand briefly. The human's grip was firm, a gesture Krell didn't entirely understand, but found oddly symbolic. "Thank you, Ambassador Carter," Krell replied, his voice smooth and diplomatic. "It is an honor to visit your world. The Galactic Council seeks peace and cooperation with your species." Carter smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "We seek the same. Please follow me. We've prepared accommodations for you." As Krell was escorted through the city, he observed everything with his sharp, multifaceted eyes. The streets were clean but bustling, filled with humans of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Their technology seemed advanced but grounded: efficient transportation systems, clean energy sources, and towering buildings with sustainable designs. It was all very balanced, too balanced. "They're hiding something," Krell thought. Later that evening, during a formal dinner with Earth's officials, Krell probed for information. He asked about Earth's military capabilities, its alliances, and its plans for the future. The humans answered politely but vaguely, never giving away too much. "Your world has advanced rapidly," Krell remarked, his tone casual but probing. "It is rare for a species to progress so quickly without external assistance. Has Earth had outside influences?" Carter chuckled, sipping his wine. "Humans have always been resourceful. Necessity breeds invention, as they say. But no, Ambassador Therian, we've done it all ourselves. Trial and error. A lot of error, to be honest." The room laughed lightly, but Krell noticed something in Carter's expression, a glint of caution, perhaps even amusement. Determined to uncover the truth, Krell activated his cloaking device later that night and slipped away from his quarters. Moving silently through the shadows, he infiltrated a high-security facility he had marked earlier during his tour. Inside, he found what he was looking for. Massive starships were being constructed in underground hangars, their sleek designs unlike anything the Galactic Council had ever seen. The ships bristled with weaponry that defied current galactic standards: railguns, plasma turrets, and something Krell couldn't identify, something terrifying. But it wasn't just the ships. Krell accessed the facility's database and uncovered detailed records of Earth's military programs. Project Vanguard, Project Titan, Project Eclipse, each one more advanced and secretive than the last. And then there were the soldiers. Krell watched as rows of human troops trained with precision and ferocity. They were outfitted with advanced exosuits, enhancing their strength, speed, and endurance. Even unarmed, the hand-to-hand combat skills were brutal and efficient. These weren't just soldiers, they were warriors. Krell's mind raced. How had the Council overlooked this? Humanity wasn't just catching up, they were surpassing the galaxy's most powerful civilizations. Suddenly, alarms blared. Krell froze. He had been detected. Before he could react, the room was bathed in red light, and automated turrets emerged from the walls. A calm, robotic voice echoed through the facility. Unidentified entity detected, initiating containment protocols. Krell activated his cloaking device again, but it was too late. A squad of soldiers burst into the room, their weapons trained on him. To his shock, one of them stepped forward, lowering his weapon. "Ambassador Therian," the soldier said, his voice steady and commanding. "You've seen enough. Come with us." Krell's mind reeled. How had they identified him so quickly? How had they penetrated his cloaking technology? These questions would have to wait. For now, he had no choice but to comply. The next morning, Krell was back in the company of Ambassador Carter, who seemed oddly unfazed by the incident. "Curiosity is a double-edged sword, Ambassador Therian," Carter said with a smile that was both friendly and dangerous. "You've learned a lot about us. I suggest you share your findings with the Galactic Council. Tell them we welcome peace. But if they wish for war, they should think very carefully." Krell returned to his ship, shaken but determined. He had uncovered Earth's secrets, but he also realized something far more important. The humans weren't just powerful, they were prepared. As his ship ascended into the stars, Krell knew the Council wouldn't take this lightly, and neither would Earth. Humanity's secret weapon. Back aboard his ship, Krell Therian transmitted his findings to the Galactic Council under the highest level of encryption. As the data streamed through the interstellar relays, he couldn't shake the unease that gnawed at him. He had seen many rising civilizations, but none had left him with this feeling, part awe, part dread. The Council's response came swiftly. They convened a closed meeting to discuss the findings. The Andori ambassador, whose earlier warnings had been dismissed, now stood vindicated. "This is worse than we imagined," he declared, his amber eyes scanning the Council chamber. "Earth's technological advancements rival ours, but their tactics, their mindset, they're unlike anything we've encountered. They are not just a rising power. They are a threat to galactic stability." The Valan representative growled in frustration. "We have the largest fleet in the galaxy. If we strike now, we can crush them before they become unstoppable." The Lyrian ambassador shook her head. "And if we fail, the humans will retaliate with everything they have. Have you not read their history? When pushed to the brink, they do not yield. They innovate, they adapt, and then they destroy." Amid the heated debate, a low hum interrupted the room. The holographic display at the center of the chamber flickered to life, revealing Earth's ambassador, Carter. His image was sharp, his presence commanding, even through the shimmering projection. "Ladies and gentlemen of the Galactic Council," Carter began, his voice calm but resolute, "I believe you've recently learned more about Earth than you anticipated. I'm here to save you the trouble of further speculation." The council members exchanged uneasy glances. How had the humans managed to intercept their communication lines so effortlessly? "We are aware of your fleets," Carter continued. "We know you see us as a threat. But let me assure you, Earth seeks peace, not war." However, his tone shifted, becoming colder. If you choose to challenge us, you'll learn why we have survived and thrived against all odds." With a gesture, Carter's hologram expanded to display footage. The Council watched in stunned silence as Earth's latest project was revealed, Project Vanguard. The Vanguard Unveiled. Project Vanguard wasn't just a fleet of warships. It was an interconnected network of supercarriers, frigates, and automated drones powered by cutting-edge artificial intelligence. Each vessel was equipped with energy shields that adapted in real time to incoming threats, plasma cannons capable of obliterating entire fleets, and stealth systems that made them virtually undetectable. The flagship of the fleet, the Erebus, was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Nearly 3 kilometers long, its black hull absorbed light, giving it the appearance of a moving void. It wasn't just a weapon, it was a statement. But the most terrifying aspect wasn't the ships themselves. It was the strategy behind them. Earth had designed these vessels not just to win battles, but to outthink their enemies. The AI systems aboard each ship could analyze enemy tactics, predict their next moves, and adapt in seconds. "This is impossible," the Trivaldi delegate whispered, his face pale. "No species could develop this so quickly." Carter's voice cut through the stunned silence. "We didn't build these ships for conquest. We built them because we've seen what happens to species like us when they're unprepared. We built them because we knew the day would come when the galaxy would test our resolve." The hologram shifted again, showing Earth's soldiers in action. Equipped with advanced exosuits, their strength and speed were unmatched. They moved as one, their drills executed with a precision that left even the disciplined Varlan military impressed. "And if you think our fleet is all we have," Carter added, his voice calm but cutting, "you've severely underestimated us." A calculated risk. The Council's chamber erupted into chaos after Carter's transmission ended. Some demanded immediate action, while others urged caution. The Andari ambassador remained silent, his mind racing. "If we attack now," he finally said, "we risk igniting a war that could destroy us all. But if we wait, Earth's power will only grow. The only logical path is to negotiate from a position of strength." The Varlan representative scoffed. "Negotiate? With a species that flaunts its weapons like a child showing off a toy? No, we must strike while we still have the advantage." "Advantage?" the Lyrian ambassador countered. "Did you not see what they've built? Their technology is already on par with ours, and their determination far exceeds it. We need to understand them before we act. If they truly seek peace, this could be an opportunity, not a threat." As the Council deliberated, Krell watched from the sidelines, his mind weighed down by what he had seen on Earth. The humans weren't just prepared for war, they would prepare for survival at any cost. And that made them the most dangerous species he had ever encountered. Back on Earth. Meanwhile, on Earth, the Vanguard fleet prepared for its first test run. The Erebus sat in orbit, its black hull a stark contrast against the blue and white planet below. On board, Commander Elaine Briggs oversaw the final preparations. "We've detected increased activity among Council fleets," one officer reported. Briggs nodded. "Let them watch. They need to understand what they're dealing with." She turned to the ship's AI interface, a glowing orb that pulsed softly as it spoke. "Aegis, status report." "All systems operational," the AI replied. "Shall we proceed with the demonstration, Commander?" Briggs smiled. "Let's give them a show they'll never forget." As the Erebus powered up, a ripple of energy spread through space, distorting light and temporarily blinding distance sensors. For the first time, humanity's secret weapon was unleashed, and the galaxy was watching. The first encounter. The Galactic Council's fleet moved swiftly through hyperspace, a shimmering mass of over 100 warships. Their mission was clear: approach Earth under the guise of diplomacy, but be ready to strike at the first sign of resistance. At the helm of this armada was Admiral Salek, a hardened Varlan tactician with decades of experience. He didn't trust Earth's peaceful overtures. In his eyes, humanity's rapid rise and secretive behavior spelled danger. As the fleet emerged at the edge of Earth's solar system, its arrival did not go unnoticed. On board the flagship Erebus, Commander Elaine Briggs watched the monitors as the alien vessels appeared one by one, their configurations lighting up the ship's detection systems. 112 ships, the tactical officer reported, his voice steady. Mostly mid-sized frigates and cruisers, with a few heavy carriers. Their formation suggests a defensive posture, but their energy signatures indicate readiness for combat. Briggs nodded, her face calm but her mind racing. "Exactly as we expected," she said, her tone unshaken. "They're testing us. Let's show them what we've got." The Council fleet advances. On board the Council flagship, Admiral Sarlacc studied Earth's planetary defenses. At first glance, they seemed underwhelming. Orbital platforms dotted the skies, their weapon systems modest by galactic standards. Ground-based facilities appeared equally basic, with missile silos and energy shields offering standard levels of protection. But Sarlacc's instincts told him something was wrong. It was too quiet. No fleet had risen to meet them, no aggressive response to their presence. Instead, Earth seemed to be waiting. "This is a trap," Sarlacc growled, his reptilian features hardening. The Andari liaison on the bridge, a wiry figure named Lurath, shook his head. "Perhaps they're simply hesitant. Humans value diplomacy after all." "Humans value survival," Sarlacc snapped. "And survival makes them dangerous." He gestured to his officers. "Send a broadcast to Earth. Let's see how they respond." Earth's calm response. Admiral Carter appeared on the fleet's main communication screens, his image clear and composed. Behind him, the Earth emblem, a stylized globe flanked by olive branches, glowed faintly. "Admiral Sarlacc," Carter began, his voice steady and professional. "Welcome to Earth's solar system. We hope your journey was uneventful." Sarlacc wasted no time with pleasantries. "Earth has risen quickly, faster than any species in recorded history. The Galactic Council finds your advancements concerning. We are here to ensure you pose no threat to galactic peace." Carter's lips twitched in a faint smile. "Peace has always been our goal, Admiral. But peace, as I'm sure you know, often requires strength." Sarlacc's gaze narrowed. "Strength without restraint leads to war. And weakness without preparation invites conquest," Carter countered smoothly. The two stared at each other through the screen, the tension thick enough to cut. Finally, Carter leaned back, his demeanor unbothered. "Since you've come all this way, allow us to demonstrate why Earth believes in preparation. Observe. The Erebus unleashes its power." From Earth's orbit, the Erebus decloaked. Its massive black hull seemed to drink in the surrounding starlight, an ominous shadow against the backdrop of space. The Council fleet, though vast, was visibly shaken by the sudden appearance of a vessel they hadn't detected. "What is that?" Sarlacc demanded, his claws gripping the edge of his console. Aboard the Erebus, Commander Briggs initiated the demonstration. "Engage non-lethal protocols," she ordered. "Let's give them a taste without starting a war." Energy surged along the Erebus's hull, its weapon systems activating in a seamless cascade. It targeted the Council fleet's command frigates, firing precision plasma bolts that disabled their engines and weapons without causing catastrophic damage. One by one, the frigates went dark, drifting helplessly in space. Automated drones deployed from the Erebus, dismantling the ship's shields with calculated precision. The Council fleet scrambled to respond, but every maneuver was anticipated, every counter-strike neutralized. "This can't be happening," Lurath whispered, his amber eyes wide with disbelief. Admiral Sarlacc barked orders to regroup, but the Erebus continued its onslaught, systematically disarming the fleet. Within minutes, a third of the Council's forces were disabled, their ships rendered useless without a single fatality. A message of strength. Admiral Carter's voice returned to the Council fleet's communication channels, calm and unwavering. "This was a demonstration, Admiral Sarlacc," Carter said. "Earth does not wish for war, but we will defend ourselves if necessary. Return to the Council and tell them what you've seen. Tell them that Earth stands ready, not for conquest, but for survival." The transmission ended, leaving the fleet in stunned silence. Admiral Sarlacc's decision. Admiral Sarlacc sat back in his chair, his mind racing. The humans had not only matched the Council's technology, but surpassed it in strategy and precision. Their ability to disable an entire fleet without shedding blood was a clear message. They were prepared for any scenario. Reluctantly, Sarlacc gave the order to retreat. As the fleet limped away from Earth, the weight of their failure hung heavy. The Council would demand answers, and Sarlacc knew the implications of what he had witnessed would echo far beyond this single encounter. Earth's quiet victory. Back on Earth, Commander Briggs watched as the Council fleet disappeared into hyperspace. "Do you think they got the message?" one of her officers asked. Briggs allowed herself a small smile. "Oh, they got it. Now it's up to them whether they want to listen." In the silence that followed, the Erebus returned to its position in orbit, cloaking once more. Earth remained hidden but ever watchful, its true strength revealed only when necessary. As the Council reeled from their defeat, one thing was clear: humanity was no longer the galaxy's underdog. They were a force to be reckoned with, and their rise had only just begun. Galactic chaos. The Galactic Council was in shambles. News of the fleet's humiliating retreat from Earth spread like wildfire across the galaxy. Allies of the Council whispered in hushed tones, while rival factions openly celebrated. It was the first time in centuries that the Council's authority had been questioned so publicly, and it had been done by a species they had once dismissed as primitive. In the Grand Council chamber, tension was at an all-time high. Representatives from dozens of species argued over the next course of action, their voices echoing through the vast hall. "This is a disaster," roared the Varlan representative, his claws clenching the edge of his podium. "A single human ship disabled a third of our fleet without firing a lethal shot. If we do not respond, the entire galaxy will see us as weak. And if we escalate, we risk total annihilation," countered the Lyrian ambassador, her voice calm but firm. "The humans were clear. They do not seek war. If we push them, we might awaken a threat we cannot contain." The Andari ambassador, who had been silent until now, finally spoke. "We need more information. What we have seen so far is impressive, yes, but I refuse to believe that humanity's strength is limitless. Every fortress has a weak point. We must find theirs." Whispers of rebellion. As the Council debated, an undercurrent of rebellion stirred in the galaxy. For centuries, smaller factions had resented the Council's iron grip on interstellar politics. Now they saw Earth's defiance as a spark, a beacon of hope for those who sought to break free. In the Outer Rim, where Council influence was weakest, rebel factions began contacting Earth in secret. Messages of alliance, trade, and shared technology flooded humanity's communication networks. In a hidden base on Mars, Earth's leaders convened to discuss the implications. "We're being hailed as heroes," said General Patel, gesturing to the holographic map filled with blinking signals. "These factions see us as their chance to overthrow the Council. They're asking for weapons, ships, and even tactical support." Ambassador Carter, who had just returned from the orbital station, shook his head. "We can't afford to take sides in a galactic rebellion. If we align with these groups, we paint a target on our backs for the entire Council to aim at." Commander Briggs leaned forward, her expression thoughtful. "But if we ignore them, we risk losing a strategic advantage. These factions could be valuable allies in the future, especially if the Council decides to come back with a larger fleet." The room fell silent as the leaders weighed their options. Humanity had become the center of galactic attention, and every move they made would have far-reaching consequences. The Council's hidden agenda. Meanwhile, the Council wasn't idle. Behind closed doors, a secret plan was unfolding. The Andari intelligence network had been tasked with uncovering Earth's vulnerabilities. Spies were deployed to infiltrate human society, posing as traders, diplomats, and even refugees seeking asylum. In a darkened chamber deep within the Council's headquarters, Admiral Salek met with a shadowy figure, an Andari operative known only as Vexis. "We need results, Vexis," Salek growled. "The Council's authority is crumbling, and it's only a matter of time before the rebels gain the upper hand. What have you found?" Vexis leaned forward, her silver skin gleaming faintly in the dim light. "The humans are resourceful, but their greatest strength is also their greatest weakness: unity. They've rallied under a single banner because they perceive a common threat. If we fracture that unity, their strength will crumble." "How?" Salek asked, his eyes narrowing. Vexis smiled, a cold and calculating expression. "We feed their paranoia. We sow distrust among their leaders, and when the time is right, we strike from within." A galaxy on edge. Back on Earth, the pressure was mounting. Rebel factions were growing bolder, openly attacking Council installations and crediting their successes to Earth's influence. The Council, in turn, ramped up its propaganda, portraying humanity as a destabilizing force that threatened galactic peace. In the midst of this chaos, Earth faced its own internal struggles. The leaders debated whether to maintain their neutral stance or take a more active role in the galactic conflict. Public opinion was divided, with some calling for solidarity with the rebels and others urging caution. Ambassador Carter found himself at the center of the storm. As he addressed the United Nations in a televised session, his words carried the weight of an entire planet's future. "We stand at a crossroads," Carter said, his voice steady but impassioned. "The galaxy watches us not only for our strength but for our wisdom. We cannot allow fear to dictate our actions, nor can we ignore the responsibilities that come with our newfound power. Let us choose a path that ensures our survival while upholding the values that make us human." The Council strikes back. Unbeknownst to Earth, the Council had already begun its counterattack. Vex's operatives infiltrated key sectors, spreading disinformation and exploiting divisions among Earth's allies. Small acts of sabotage disrupted critical supply chains, and rumors of a Council superweapon began to circulate. The first major blow came when a covert Council strike team destroyed a rebel base that had recently allied with Earth. Though the humans had no direct involvement, the attack was framed as a warning to those who sided with them. The message was clear: Earth's strength was not enough to protect its allies. A turning point. As Earth scrambled to respond, Commander Briggs proposed a bold strategy. "If they want to frame us as aggressors, let's show the galaxy what true leadership looks like. We don't need to fight the Council head-on. We need to outsmart them." Her plan involved a public demonstration of Earth's technological and humanitarian capabilities. By deploying advanced medical aid, clean energy systems, and agricultural solutions to struggling worlds, Earth could win hearts and minds across the galaxy. Ambassador Carter nodded. "Let the Council fight with fear. We'll fight with hope." The stage is set. As Earth's aid missions spread across the stars, the Council's hold on the galaxy weakened further. But beneath the surface, the tension was building. The Andari's covert operations were gaining traction, and humanity's every move was being scrutinized. The galaxy was now a powder keg, and all it needed was a single spark. Whether that spark would lead to peace or all-out war remained to be seen. The final stand. The galaxy was holding its breath. Across star systems, from the glittering metropolises of the core worlds to the desolate mining colonies on the outer rim, all eyes were on the brewing conflict between Earth and the Galactic Council. Some viewed Earth as a symbol of defiance and hope. Others saw it as a destabilizing force threatening the fragile balance of power. The Council, bruised but unbroken, had not been idle. While Earth had worked to win hearts and minds, the Council's finest minds and engineers had been designing their ultimate response, the Leviathan Initiative, a fleet of massive dreadnoughts equipped with experimental energy weapons capable of tearing through planetary shields and obliterating entire fleets in one strike. The first of these dreadnoughts, Oblivion, emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, accompanied by a vast escort fleet. Its size dwarfed even the mighty Erebus. It was more than a ship. It was a declaration. Earth's response. Inside the underground command center on Mars, Earth's leaders watched the Leviathan fleet's approach on holographic displays. The room was tense, the air heavy with unspoken fears. Commander Briggs stood at the center of the room, her expression grim but focused. "They've brought their best," she said, pointing to the colossal dreadnought. "But they still don't understand who they're dealing with." Ambassador Carter stepped forward. "What's the plan, Commander? The Erebus may be advanced, but can it take on something like that?" Briggs smiled faintly. "It doesn't have to." Her words hung in the air, sparking a mix of curiosity and concern among the assembled officials. "What do you mean?" Carter pressed. Briggs turned to the room, her voice steady. "For years, we've been developing countermeasures for scenarios like this. The Erebus was never meant to be our only line of defense. Meet the next phase of Project Vanguard, Shadow Squadron." With a wave of her hand, a hologram displayed 12 sleek, black starships, each equipped with advanced cloaking technology and precision strike capabilities. Unlike the Erebus, these ships were designed for speed, stealth, and surgical strikes. "Our goal isn't to outgun them," Briggs explained. "It's to outmaneuver them. Shadow Squadron will infiltrate their formation, disable their command ships, and leave the Oblivion vulnerable. Then we strike. The battle begins. Earth's declaration." Ambassador Carter stood before the United Nations, addressing not just the gathered world leaders, but a galaxy-wide audience. His holographic image was broadcast to every allied faction, neutral planet, and even the Council's core systems. "Today," Carter began, his voice steady, "we have demonstrated that humanity will not bow to intimidation. We did not seek this conflict, but we will defend our home, our people, and our allies against any threat. However," he continued, his tone softening, "we do not seek to dominate or control. We offer peace, cooperation, and mutual growth. To the Galactic Council, I say this: we are willing to rebuild the bridges you tried to burn. To the galaxy, I say, we are not your enemies. We are your partners, your neighbors, your friends." The speech was met with thunderous applause on Earth and cautious optimism across allied systems. But in the heart of the Council's core worlds, it sparked heated debates and quiet fears. The Council fractures. In the Council chamber, chaos reigned. The defeat of the Oblivion and the retreat of their fleet had undermined the Council's authority. Many of its member species began questioning whether the Council could still claim to be the galaxy's dominant power. The Trivaldi delegate, a sharp-featured being known for his pragmatism, stood to address the assembly. "The Council has failed. We brought war to Earth, and in doing so, we exposed our own weakness. Humanity offered peace, and we responded with aggression. The galaxy will not forget this." The Varlan representative snarled, his reptilian features twisted with anger. "You suggest we submit to them? Never. Earth is a threat that must be eliminated." Before the debate could escalate further, the Andari ambassador rose. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of his species' wisdom. "Humanity has offered us an olive branch," he said. "If we refuse it, we risk plunging the galaxy into a war it cannot afford. But if we accept, we might yet find a way to coexist. The choice is ours, but know this, the humans will not wait forever." A bold move. Back on Earth, preparations continued. Despite the victory, humanity's leaders knew the war was far from over. Commander Briggs spearheaded the next phase of Project Vanguard, an initiative to establish forward bases and diplomatic outposts in Allied territories. "We need to show the galaxy that we're not just fighters," Briggs said during a strategic meeting. "We're builders, protectors, and allies. If we can stabilize the regions where the Council has faltered, we'll win this war without firing another shot. One of the first missions was to deliver advanced medical technology to the war-torn planet of Keros, a neutral world ravaged by decades of Council neglect. Earth's fleet arrived with supplies, engineers, and doctors, transforming the planet's failing infrastructure in a matter of weeks. The Corrosion leader, a once skeptical figure, publicly declared his gratitude to Earth, aligning his planet with humanity. This act of goodwill rippled across the galaxy, swaying neutral factions and bolstering humanity's reputation as a force for stability. The shadow grows. But not everyone was swayed. In the dark corners of the galaxy, the Council regrouped. Vexis, the Andari operative, continued her work, planting seeds of mistrust among Earth's allies. False reports of human espionage and sabotage began to spread, causing fractures in newly formed alliances. On a remote Council outpost, a secret project was underway. Scientists worked tirelessly to reverse engineer the technologies used by Earth's Erebus and Shadow Squadron. They called it Project Eclipse, a program designed to create stealth ships capable of rivaling Earth's fleet. Vexis delivered her report to Admiral Sarlik. "The humans are not invincible," she said with cold certainty. "They have weaknesses, just as any species does. All we need is the right moment to exploit them." Sarlik's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then we bide our time. Let them think they've won. When the moment comes, we will strike, and this time, they won't see it coming." Humanity's vision. On Earth, Ambassador Carter convened with the leaders of allied worlds to discuss the future. The gathering was a historic moment, with representatives from over 20 species seated around a table once reserved for Earth's nations alone. Earth's Declaration. Ambassador Carter stood before the United Nations, addressing not just the gathered world leaders, but a galaxy-wide audience. His holographic image was broadcast to every allied faction, neutral planet, and even the Council's core systems. Today, Carter began, his voice steady, "We have demonstrated that humanity will not bow to intimidation. We did not seek this conflict, but we will defend our home, our people, and our allies against any threat." However, he continued, his tone softening, "We do not seek to dominate or control. We offer peace, cooperation, and mutual growth. To the Galactic Council, I say this: we are willing to rebuild the bridges you tried to burn. To the galaxy, I say, we are not your enemies. We are your partners, your neighbors, your friends." The speech was met with thunderous applause on Earth and cautious optimism across allied systems. But in the heart of the Council's core worlds, it sparked heated debates and quiet fears. The Council fractures. In the Council chamber, chaos reigned. The defeat of the Oblivion and the retreat of their fleet had undermined the Council's authority. Many of its member species began questioning whether the Council could still claim to be the galaxy's dominant power. The Trivaldi delegate, a sharp-featured being known for his pragmatism, stood to address the Assembly. "The Council has failed. We brought war to Earth, and in doing so, we exposed our own weakness. Humanity offered peace, and we responded with aggression. The galaxy will not forget this." The Varlan representative snarled, his reptilian features twisted with anger. "You suggest we submit to them? Never. Earth is a threat that must be eliminated." Before the debate could escalate further, the Andari ambassador rose. His voice was calm, but carried the weight of his species' wisdom. "Humanity has offered us an olive branch," he said. "If we refuse it, we risk plunging the galaxy into a war it cannot afford. But if we accept, we might yet find a way to coexist. The choice is ours, but know this, the humans will not wait forever." A bold move. Back on Earth, preparations continued. Despite the victory, humanity's leaders knew the war was far from over. Commander Briggs spearheaded the next phase of Project Vanguard, an initiative to establish forward bases and diplomatic outposts in Allied territories. "We need to show the galaxy that we're not just fighters," Briggs said during a strategic meeting. We're builders, protectors, and allies. If we can stabilize the regions where the Council has faltered, we'll win this war without firing another shot. One of the first missions was to deliver advanced medical technology to the war-torn planet of Keros, a neutral world ravaged by decades of Council neglect. Earth's fleet arrived with supplies, engineers, and doctors, transforming the planet's failing infrastructure in a matter of weeks. The Corrosion leader, a once skeptical figure, publicly declared his gratitude to Earth, aligning his planet with humanity. This act of goodwill rippled across the galaxy, swaying neutral factions and bolstering humanity's reputation as a force for stability. The shadow grows. But not everyone was swayed. In the dark corners of the galaxy, the Council regrouped. Vexis, the Andari operative, continued her work, planting seeds of mistrust among Earth's allies. False reports of human espionage and sabotage began to spread, causing fractures in newly formed alliances. On a remote Council outpost, a secret project was underway. Scientists worked tirelessly to reverse engineer the technologies used by Earth's Erebus and Shadow Squadron. They called it Project Eclipse, a program designed to create stealth ships capable of rivaling Earth's fleet. Vexis delivered her report to Admiral Sarlacc. "The humans are not invincible," she said with cold certainty. "They have weaknesses, just as any species does. All we need is the right moment to exploit them." Sarlacc's eyes gleamed with determination. "Then we bide our time. Let them think they've won. When the moment comes, we will strike, and this time, they won't see it coming." Humanity's vision. On Earth, Ambassador Carter convened with the leaders of allied worlds to discuss the future. The gathering was a historic moment, with representatives from over 20 species seated around a table once reserved for Earth's nations alone. "We've proven that we can stand together in the face of adversity," Carter said. "But now we must prove that we can build a galaxy where such conflicts are no longer necessary. A galaxy where every species has a voice, where no one fears domination or oppression." His proposal was ambitious: the creation of an intergalactic coalition independent of the Council, a union of equals dedicated to peace, trade, and mutual defense. The proposal was met with cautious enthusiasm, but it was clear that the road ahead would be long and challenging. The new balance. As Earth's influence grew, so did its challenges. The galaxy was no longer divided between the Council and its opponents. It was a web of shifting alliances, fragile truces, and lingering tensions. Humanity had claimed its place among the stars, but it had also inherited the responsibility that came with it. In the shadows, the Council plotted its return to power. In the light, Earth worked to unite the galaxy under a banner of cooperation. And in between, countless species watched and waited, uncertain of what the future would bring. The final message. On board the Erebus, Commander Briggs stood alone on the bridge, gazing out at the stars. The ship's AI, Aegis, spoke softly. "Do you think they'll accept our vision, Commander?" Briggs smiled faintly. "Some will, some won't. But one thing's certain: we've shown the galaxy what humanity is capable of. Now it's up to them to decide what comes next." As the Erebus sailed through the void, Earth's message echoed across the stars. "We are here, we are ready, and together we will build a future worth fighting for."